Hello and welcome to Studio B at Engerati. We're at European Utility Week 2016, and in the studio right now I have with me Michael Merz, who is the founding and managing director of Ponton. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
My first question is Ponton. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is you're doing in the market.
I'm the managing director of Ponton. I founded the company 16 years ago, and we have a focus on software development for energy traders mainly, but also energy companies who exchange data. Yeah?
Okay. So you're working on financial pieces, aspects of energy trading?
Yes, we have developed the clearing system for the ECC, which is the clearinghouse of EEX and other European energy exchanges. And that is a 24/7 system. If that goes down, the ECC will go down, and we as well. So this is something that has to be run, it's mission critical. But we also have developed platforms for confirmation matching for wholesale traders, and also for reporting under REMIT and EMIR. So that was our main task over the past 3 years.
Okay.
And we have over 1,100 energy trading organizations which use our platform for reporting under regulatory frameworks like REMIT and EMIR. Yeah.
All right, so both sides, your customer and also so you're a financial platform working in the energy industry, if I were to wrap it up like that. So you have more thinking every day about quality and resilience than the average person when they go to work.
Possibly,
I mean,
yes. Yeah.
You really have to get it right.
Yeah.
So I understand that you worked on a project with an Austrian utility, and that was about decentralized data storage. So that's not the first thing I would think of based on what you told me. So tell me a little bit about that project.
Yeah, this is the project EDA, which stands for Energy Data Exchange in Austria. And it started 4 years ago with the supplier switching process. Why? Because the regulator has tightened the requirement for the exchange, data exchange process, such that it was necessary to do that in an automatic way, end-to-end, between the different market roles involved. So the new supplier, the old supplier, and the DSO. And the Austrian energy and utilities and market participants choose to use our software, Ponton XP, communication software, in a standardized way to exchange the data. So as far as the supplier switching process is concerned, 99% of the Austrian market has installed our software and has standardized the process and also the data format for this process to the maximum. And since this is so far standardized, there's actually no need to have a data platform or a data hub in the middle. Because if you look at some data hub projects in Europe, the data hub is like a process policeman. If a process is executed, this central entity receives data from the sender, checks if everything is right, and forwards that to the receiver, just to ensure that the process is executed in the correct way. However, if it is all standardized, you don't need that in the middle, because the standard is already embedded in the systems of the participants, and they just need a communication infrastructure. And that is what we have supplied to the Austrian participants.
So what was the name of the Austrian utility?
It's all utilities, so it's TVAC, it's Wien Energie, it's Energie AG, it's the DSOs, and it's also the different suppliers on the Austrian market.
Okay, so it sounds like to me either you're describing a blockchain configuration, or you're kind of working towards a blockchain configuration. Am I right?
Yeah, this EDA project is not yet blockchain based, but blockchain is the next generation, so to say.
Because you're getting there, but I mean, are you moving towards blockchain then?
We do already a couple of projects.
Of the fraud reasonings?
No, so where we are coming from is data exchange on one side and the energy sector on the client side.
Right.
So what we do is bring together this on a blockchain basis. And the question is, where does that make sense? And in my opinion, it makes sense in 3 areas. One is energy trading, to do a peer-to-peer trading over the blockchain, because the blockchain is a peer-to-peer network, and it helps the market participants to perform trades, to execute trades, but without a broker in the middle. Yeah? So the tool that we have developed, and that is existing, and we presented that 10 days ago on the EMART conference in Amsterdam. That was the first European wholesale energy trade over the blockchain. And what you do there is it looks like a trading screen that is used for a broker platform, but there is no broker. It just allows you to directly exchange data with the other counterparties, and you enter a trade, you enter an order, and it pops up on the other side. They click on that and then execute a trade, and that is done peer-to-peer. So that is one area. The other area is grid management processes. There are processes which are more TSO-centric, like requesting balancing power from aggregators and then again from prosumers. Which possibly sit in the local grid of a DSO, and if the DSO manages this local grid close to the capacity of the grid, this may get in conflict with the DSO process. So we have unsynchronized processes here on the DSO side and the TSO side, and we need a communication between them. And here, the blockchain is also a possible tool that could be used to bring them together and to synchronize their processes.
Typically, I mean, blockchain is a distributed database technology, essentially, right? But the use of a data hub is typically to help synchronize these processes, right? I mean, that would be the architectural reason for that. And so what I hear you saying is that blockchain is a reasonable enabling technology to synchronize in a way because of the way that the way the technology is implemented. It's not a complicated technology, but it sounds like that's what you're saying because of the way the hashing works, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the blockchain helps to distribute things,
right?
And the data hub is something central. So that is actually a contradiction in itself.
Yeah.
But as organizations are distributed themselves, market participants, it makes sense to use the blockchain as a synchronization means in the middle. However, the data that occurs from them collaborating with each other could also be used by a third party, which is connected to the blockchain and which processes that data. So, for example, if you look at the nomination process, how it is done today, it is the whole balance responsible parties submitting nominations every 15 minutes to the TSO. But what could be done is that they do their trading, the TSO listens to that through the blockchain and just picks out the data which is relevant for the TSO and then has the portfolio data and can net the data and can figure out. So it's
basically just a viewer of the blockchain then, it's not actually a participant in it in the sense that it's writing, correct?
Yeah, it could be an additional role or additional participant which just listens to the blockchain and reads out the data out of the blockchain.
Right.
Or the regulator would be another one. So there is trading going on in this marketplace, in this distributed marketplace. And another role would be the regulator who just listens to the transactions which are executed. Yeah. And instead of reporting them through complicated channels,
introducing, but not only just complicated channels, but every time you're mixing up the data again and cooking it for something else, you're introducing another quality problem, potential quality problem, and software bugs and synchronization issues and timeliness issues. I think it's very interesting. Tell me how your clients think about, or are thinking about where you want to evolve your company's offering.
Yeah, we have a lot of projects going on in these different areas, and the clients are quite enthusiastic about that because they want to test and try out how this works. They want really to see that working. Of course, this is not a productive development, but it's developing prototypes, and it's also important to find the right business case and the right business model which fits to the blockchain technology. It's one thing to come with a classical business model and the business requirement and develop the software that fits to that model. But if you have the blockchain, it has a very specific profile. It cannot be really forced to support each and every type of business model. you have to do it the other way around. You have to see what is the niche or what is the business model that fits the capacity or the capability
of the. That's not typically the recommended way, right?
It's bottom up. Usually you go top down, but here you have an exciting technology and you try to figure out bottom up.
Because it has enough benefits, right? For,
exactly,
for a collection of problems. So, you know, I know there's different schools of thought about the idea of a private blockchain, which seems tempting to energy financial industries, but it sort of, some might say, kind of violates the premise of blockchain. Do you take a position on that as a company, or are you still exploring that question as well?
We don't represent a specific blockchain technology and also not a specific approach to that. So we come more from the application side, and as our clients would see it, and we analyze the requirements, the business model that they see or that we see, and then we try to find out what is the right technology. By the way, that could also be a non-blockchain technology. So you should not always think about blockchain as the only solution for everything. I would say in 90% of the cases, a classical solution would also help. But if it is a blockchain solution, there are very different implementations. So it starts with Bitcoin, which just works. I mean, it's working now for 7 years altogether, and it has proven that it works, but it's very limited. You cannot really extend that. You cannot really apply it to let's say, industrial requirements. Then there's Ethereum, another blockchain, which is still in a quite immature phase, but by using smart contracts, it has unleashed a lot of creativity in the software development world. But then are many other blockchains, like Hyperledger from IBM, which is now open source, and which has again a different approach. And there are blockchains which are very fast, with a block time of 1 second versus 10 minutes in the case of Bitcoin, which again offers completely new possibilities.
Sure, yeah.
And it is more a filtering and evaluation thing first to find the right solution.
Premise of how they manage fraud and stuff. So I think it's a really good point you're making, that there's these variety. We just have a few minutes left, and I sort of want to bring your financial application, our conversation here, which could go on for a long time, back to the energy world. It seems like this sort of synchronization problem, being able to solve it in a very robust, secure, virtually fraud-proof, as far as we know for now, way into the energy world of distributed energy, consumers who are generating and trying to coordinate these financial relationships of energy transactions in a growing world that's just beyond anything we imagined a few years ago. Do you want to say anything about that before we finish up today?
Specifically about fraud and cybersecurity. There is a new feature that the blockchain brings in, and this is that usually you try to make your firewall as strong as possible and keep the intruders outside.
Right.
But, well, once the intruder is inside, he has a free playground to stop a database here, to manipulate data there. With a blockchain, if the nodes are distributed across the different participants, the intruder may manipulate the data of one node, but it's a feature of the blockchain that it doesn't care about one node being malicious. It's fault tolerant, and that is something extremely new, which still has to be explored, but which provides a new approach to cybersecurity. Of course, we don't want to reduce the strength of the firewall, but we have a possibility here to make the overall system of the blockchain infrastructure more fault tolerant and more hardened against such attacks. So that is also a topic which probably will be examined and tested over the coming years.
I think so. So Michael Merz, founder and managing director of Ponton, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us in the Engerati studio. And we're signing off from Studio B.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.